Hello everyone, Teacher here, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to take a look at the Chapter 4 deep dive that we finally got released, where we're going to look at the abilities of the Balrog and also how that we're going to score. So if you're ready, let's take a closer look. So I want to start off here real quick before we're going to jump into how I'm going to approach this. So first off, we have a date for the Shadow and a Flame, October 17th. So that is Tuesday next week, but subject to change. So for me and the guild that I'm in, I would recommend that we are on track to launch on Thursday, and I would actually do that because that means we could launch technically a Wednesday. And I would advise everyone, like, don't hang on to keys if you are able to launch Saturday or Friday. We don't know if there's bugs or if they delay it. I wouldn't risk losing keys on something because this actually looks like a pretty hard chapter. Now, 17 million to complete it, as always, but I've actually decided to go ahead and throw it into a Word document here, everyone, just so we can have a better look at it. So, the way you're gonna score, gain 100 points for every percentage of health lost by Durance Bane. So we score by doing damage. Gain 500 points for each Bane cleansed or resisted by an ally. That's really good, so you need resistance, something that can offer fortitude, for instance, or you have a high resistance check. You also need something that can cleanse. You actually need a lot of cleanse, but we'll get into that. Gain 15,000 points for flinching Durance Bane. We'll get into what a flinching is. And then gain some points when it exits flame or shadow form. So first off, let's take a look at the passive abilities. That is what is basically on during the phases. Creature of Terror, immune to stun, blind, burning, bleed, and poison. So we don't have any dot damage on this. Like, there's no way. This is a pure burst that you have to go with. However, remember, you can inflict in expose and weaken. There is that. So you can't do stuff like this to prevent it or do dot damage, but you can help doing damage to it or minimize the damage. So that is something important that you should keep in mind for setting up your teams. So something with expose, you're gonna need that. Furrow has it. RTR, we're gonna talk about them. When this character reaches one health, lose all turn meter, removes all boons and banes on self, lose 5 stacks of flat of flame form and shadow form on self, gain 1 stack of enrage, and becomes flinch. So, while flinch, immune to all banes and turn meter removal. Robel cannot work on that like the troll. Gain 25% of turn meter and health for this character at the end of any character turn. So basically you have 4 character turns and that's it. On reaching 100% turn meter, return to normal form. So that's what have Creature of Terror is basically the basic that it has. Then there's Creature of Shadow, this is for the shadow form. On evade, gain 3 stacks of shadow form and 20% turn meter. So this can get really out of control. So you need something with Eagle Eye. Rangers, my Gondor Ranger team is gonna like this. On reaching 20 stacks of shadow form, gain 100% turn meter. On turn, if this character has 20 stacks of shadow form, heal self for 30%. Immediately use blackout and transform into shadow form. Consume all stacks of shadow form and find 5 stacks of flame form. So basically, we're gonna get into more of it, but basically blackout, if we scroll down, we can find it over here. Dispel all boons of enemies, then inflict Shadow of Backhand. If you don't have a boon, it will gain turn meter, it will gain some counter attack. So we're gonna get back into that. During Shadow form, new abilities are available. Immune to Banes. Good thing to remember, you cannot do any Banes. It will also gain 1 stack of Enrage, and it's basically the same for Flame. Flame form, it's also immune to Banes, but we're gonna take it right here. Creature of Flame, when any enemy takes damage from burning, gain 2 stacks of flame form and 10% turn meter. Reaching 20 forms, gain 20 stacks of flame form, gain 100% turn meter. On turn, if this character has 20 stacks of flame form, heal self for 30% of max health, immediately use Infernal Ignition and transform into Flame Form. Consume all stacks of Flame Form and 5 stacks of Shadow Form. So we actually want to go back and forth between these. This is actually something that we want to control really, really well, especially if it's blind. So we need to make sure that we actually kind of hang on to that. Now here we get into the actual abilities, what they have. And let me actually just do that there. There we go. So we can actually see. I'm gonna do the normal abilities first. Normal form, Branding Iron, attack the target enemy for 220 and inflict burn for 2 turns. If it already had burning, gain 25% turn meter, attack, ignore, taunt, and provoke. So you cannot get around this. So this is basically what I would guess is the basic ability. So here you need a cleanse. Then it has Smoldering Wave, AoE. This is where we need Arwen, I can see, because you have Burning and Expose for 2 turns. This attack cannot be evaded, gain 2 stacks of Flame Form. This is where we actually would like to maybe get a slow onto it or do something else, because as I said here, it's not immune to slow when it's in the basic. It's just immune to other stuff like turn meter reduction, but you can inflict slow on it. That's also Wubite, his ability. Then it has Sightless Dread, dispel 2 boons from all enemies, inflict blind for 1 turn on 3 enemies. This attack cannot be evaded. So you cannot evade his attacks. That's something you really have to consider. And then it has Shadow Assault. Attack the target enemy, inflict disrupted and disable. We do really not want that to hit an Arwen. I'm gonna go off Rivendell because again they have sold Rivendell as the most important raid team. Inflict blind for 2 turns, remove 1 stamina from each of the target abilities and reduce their turn meter by 50%, gain 5 stacks of Shadow Form. So you want to be able to have something that is not an attack actually for this, because that way you don't give him the stacks. Then we're gonna take a look at the Flame Form. Infernal Ignition, attack all enemies for 120%, 160%, and 12 stacks of Incinerate. This attack cannot be counterattacked, only used upon entering Flame Form, so don't have to worry about always getting this AoE hit. What it does, however, have is Hellfire. Attack all enemies and inflict burning for 1 turn, consumes 1 stack of Incinerate. So it uses that, and then also here, this is his status, you could say. Incinerate empowers abilities on Durance Bane. Each hit removes 1 stack. So you want to hit him really fast when he is in his flame form. And also you want to make sure you have cleanse, because that way you can get it out of this really quick, get it out. Again, you cannot inflict any banes, but do a bunch of attacks. We'll see if assist will work, otherwise I think it will just be the actual call attack, and then you get it out. So really quick, it has, 12 stacks. So basically you need 2.5 rounds if you have a summon. Then it's two rounds. Then we go into the Shadow Smoke Strike. Attack the enemy target for 340%. Dispel 1 boon. If the target has Shadow Beckons, inflict blind for 1 turn. Shadow Beckons down here. Gain 10% turn meter. That's Blackout. So yeah. Blackout. Dispel 1 boons from all enemies, so you want to be able to put boons on yourself. Then inflict 1 stack of Shadow Beckons on each enemy that doesn't have a boon. So you basically need 2 boons on yourself. And this is where I feel a lot of buffing, like Eladin, will actually come clutch here for the elves, because of his how to say it, like he has his special 1, for instance, and Elrond, you also would like him. And then he gains turn meter if you don't have any boons, and you get Shadow Beckons on you. Gain 2 stacks of counterattacks. and this is where this used upon entering and periodically within shadow form. So this ability is like what he uses some of the time, so you need a lot of cleanse. If we go back up and look at the creature of shadow, when he evades in shadow form and he will inflict blind periodically, he will gain turn meter and the free stacks, and then he heals. So this is where it's really important in the shadow form. You need to either hit him if you are Eagle Eye, Gondor Ranger, or just a full Ranger team actually. So those who have Halberad, I feel you will benefit from him. You will be able to bypass this, and because if he has the 20 stacks, he will heal. Then he will use Blackout and transform. Now this is where I'm not sure what he will actually do if he is in shadow form, but we will see how that works. And here, when it's burning, so all of his burns, you want to make sure you have immunity. Gondor Elite could be here. This is where I'm really thinking, how will this work? The Gondor immunity slash the Ranger. It's really interesting. I'm looking forward to testing this. And yeah, Blackout, and here he inflicts the burning, so you will take a lot of burn damage. You want immunity. Consume 1 stacks each hit. I'm thinking this is where Lomian will shine. Actually, I don't know this, but he will hit 5 times, just like every time he hits on the cave troll. So I know a lot of people have talked, Lomian is kind of like the weak out, but I feel this is what will make Lomian shine in this chapter actually. So yeah, this should be interesting. My Lomin is level 40. I will probably have to build him, but I will wait until I know if this is actually how it works. Really interesting though. Embrace the Darkness. Attack the target for 1700% damage if the target has Shadow Beckons. Instead, deal a fatal blow. You need Unbreakable, so Haradrim is actually really good here. That's just a 1 turn. Gondor, however, is actually good for this because you have his special 2 Denethor. You can use that and maybe bypass it, and then you have to be a little bit lucky who he hits if you don't run a full Gondor team. But I feel if you have a full Gondor team, maybe this will help you. And then when he uses this, he goes into his normal form. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this Embrace the Darkness works. And then his status here, affected characters will receive a fatal blow if targeted by Embrace Darkness. So that is status. Shadow Beckoned, affected characters will receive a fatal blow. Yeah, so here you want to hit really fast. Here, I guess you kind of just like have to go through it. That's basically how I see it. And over here, he does a lot of infliction. So basically what we really want is we really want to be able to make sure that we can cleanse a lot. In flame form, we want to be able to hit a lot. So I feel, again, those who have built up an Aomir, you will actually benefit from this here a little bit. Because you will be able to have a hit. However, it is a double-edged sword if it doesn't survive, because then it gets inflicted with burn, takes a turn, and let's say it's tied to the burn poison, burn tick damage. But yeah, basically what we want to make sure happen is we make sure we flinch it. Again, this is what's set up here. When flinch, now we don't know that much about the enrage, if it's same as the troll. I don't know, but we'll see. So far, I couldn't find anything on the enrage in here, but I would assume it's something like that. So again, here we want him to flinch. Let's just say we do chapter 3. That's times 9, so you get 100. Every time you flinch him, you get 100, and you get how much is it? 135k. And then if we set here 1%, that's 900 points, that's 9,000, that's 90,000. So basically, if you were to go from 100% down to 1%, then you would basically gain and then get the flinch. Then you would gain 220. So, yeah, basically, and you would probably need to do that 3 times, similar to the troll. Maybe, no, not 4, but 3 probably, also because it has to exit the forms. So what I feel here is that we need to control the forms, the turn meters. Make sure you don't hit it. here with the stacks. A lot of damage. Again, it cannot get any banes on it when it is in either shadow or flame form. When it is in normal form, you cannot inflict damage or something that stops it. Basically, you can inflict slow, expose, weaken, enfeeble. That is basically what we need to make sure. And then we need to buff ourselves. This is where it really becomes critical. You need to buff yourself. And if you are to go with anything for the shadow phase, I think Eagle Eye here will be great. Off the top of my head, what I would say for teams is obviously elves are gonna be good. I feel we will also have a really good thing with our Road to Rivendell because Mary will actually work really well in this chapter. Pippin also, but especially Mary. And then something that has a lot of cleanse. I don't think Rohan will be that great because there's not that much cleansing. But overall, cleanse, you need some heal to stay alive, but you also need a lot of damage. This is where you want to make sure you go through it and then buff yourself up a lot. So again, my Halberad lead, when he is max with Miri and Faramir, I think will work really great. Now the big problem is Faramir in his shadow form cannot get the assist on, so that is a little bit sad. And then I'm really looking forward to seeing how the enrage stack is working on this troll, because troll this Balrog. But yep, overall basically the creature of flame and the creature of shadow, when it does what it does, if you hit it and it evades, you gain shadow stacks. If you take burn damage, which we can't really avoid unless we have immunity on or resistance check it. So again, fortitude, you need fortitude for that. Then you gain burning damage, and if it has the stacks, then it heals for 30%. So that's actually, I think, something that it can keep doing. So we want to make sure we don't get that. And then when it comes out of the forms, then you also automatically get over 20k points here. I'm assuming difficulty free. That is what I think some people will be able to do. And then again, you lose all stacks, and then you lose 5 stacks of the other thing, and then you want to make sure that it goes into the other one. So this is really interesting, but based on what I can see, yeah, it is Shadow Assault that is gonna go between, and then the Smoldering Wave, that's probably what I'm gonna go with, so you need a lot of heal. Again, Elrond is also why he's gonna be great. So, really interesting. This seems like a fun one. I hope there will be no bugs in here, because we should have a good experience with a chapter 4 that is this mechanical, and there will be a lot of tinkering for many people. I'll sit down and look over my squads, how they will be able to do. This will be for a future video. So again, go to the website, read it if you want. Otherwise, you can pause the video here, look through it. I felt it was easier for me to have it lined up like this instead of having to scroll up and down. While I did scroll up and down like now to make sure I had the creature up here, then it felt really nice to be able to see all the abilities next to each other. So that's it for me, everyone. If you found this video helpful, then drop a comment, perhaps leave a like, and I'll see you all in the next one and future videos where we will be discussing upcoming squads for this chapter and how we can get the best out of the current squads.